Welcome to
On Screen.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I'm gonna make him an offer again.
I will find you, and I will kill you.
21 gigawatts!
You're gonna need a bigger boat. I am the one who knocks.
That's what she said.
Not great, Bob.
Shall we begin?
Hello and welcome to the third season of On Screen. My name is Dylan Wright and I'm here to take you on a journey through film and television. Well, it's been 3 semesters worth of on-screen podcasts, and I have to say I'm really happy that you've all stuck with me and kept listening, and I really appreciate it. It's really fun to know that my ramblings always will find somebody's ear. So, a lot has happened since the second season of On Screen. Wonder Woman has come out, and it was a rousing success, thank God. I'm really happy that DC finally managed to pull one out of its hat. The new Star Wars trailer looks amazing. I'm really excited for Last Jedi, and you could believe that there's going to be an episode about that coming up. A new Star Trek show is coming out too, and there's definitely going to be an episode about me reviewing that. The Twin Peaks finale has just aired, and it was a weird season, but it kind of gave us what we were expecting, but, you know, it's David Lynch, so you can't really expect much and that kind of stuff. But the thing that I want to talk about today that's probably one of the more recent things that has just happened is that Game of Thrones has just finished its 7th season. Now, it was a truncated season. It was only 7 episodes leading up until its 8th and final season, which is only going to be 6 episodes. Now, a lot of this is because the writers of the show have kind of already surpassed the books that they're based off of, A Song of Ice and Fire, written by George R. R. Martin, because he can't finish the next book in the series. It's been like 10 years of a break, which is kind of a long time to wait for a book. So the writers are basically going by just what their talks with the author have been, just going, okay, this is going to happen, and this is kind of where the thread's going to go. But it's already completely off of the books. It's into a whole new realm that nobody, book reader or fan alike, don't know. So I feel like because of this, the show has kind of taken a dip in quality, and I can kind of see it from season 6 onward, because that's when they kind of started going into new territory where they didn't quite know where they were going because, of course, they didn't have any source material to go off of. It's like the writing almost takes a dip at times. Some of the characterizations kind of fall flat because they're trying to get these chess pieces to move in a certain way so that they're in their positions for the end game. And it kind of forces some characters to do things that they earlier wouldn't do, or they act in a certain way that doesn't make any sense. And from now on, I can't really go into this without spoiling anything, so I'm going to put out a spoiler warning to anybody who hasn't seen Game of Thrones up to Season 7. I'm sorry for making my first episode a spoiler episode, but, this is a pretty important, a pretty big thing to talk about, and I really feel passionate about it, so this is going to be my first episode. My problem with this season is that they were trying to really hardcore set up the relationship between Jon Snow, the king in the north, who's actually a Targaryen because his father, quote-unquote, Ned, was actually his uncle, and that he's actually the child of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen. And it's a long story, and you should know this if you're in the spoiler section. You already know this. Yeah, this relationship between Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen, Breaker of Chains, the Stormborn, all that, those giant titles that she has. Boy, those are a lot of titles. I don't know how Missandei remembers every single one of them to say. And I love that they made the joke that Davos is like, this is Jon Snow. He's king in the north. It's pretty funny. But back to the thing. They're trying to force this relationship together in a way that makes it kind of unnatural for some of the characters to act. Like, Daenerys is this strong woman that really wants the throne, and she kind of just comes across this king in the north that doesn't really want to bend his knee to her, and he's all noble and stuff like that, and like, I could see what Jon sees in Daenerys, because Daenerys is a very powerful woman. She's somebody that is steadfast in her beliefs and knows what she wants. But I don't really see what Daenerys sees in Jon Snow. He's kind of a boring character. And what really gets me angry is during the second to last episode, when Daenerys comes in, Deus Ex Machina, to save Jon and his Suicide Squad from the Whites and the White Walkers coming to kill them in that island with her dragon. And everybody climbs aboard the dragon, and Jon Snow's like, you know what? I'm just going to keep fighting these zombies. And he literally just, like, walks away from the dragon. He could get on the dragon and just leave. Like, they could go. He doesn't need to fight these zombies off, but he's like, oh, no, I have to be noble. I have to fight off the zombies. And then he goes and kills, and then Daenerys' dragon ends up getting destroyed because of it. Now, you would think that Daenerys would be super angry at Jon Snow for getting her baby, as she says in the episode, killed. And even before, she's like, oh, those heroes and their swinging of the swords, and they have to do everything, and they'd be so noble, and it's stupid.
Heroes do stupid things, and they die. Drogo, Jorah, Dario, even this Jon Snow, they all try to outdo each other. Who can do the stupidest, bravest thing?
He was literally doing exactly that, and she's like, you know what? I see a lot in you. We're going to fight this threat. I don't care that you got my baby killed, even though it was entirely your fault and you had to be a noble person, which I literally just condemned. And I don't think that's good characterization. They're like basically ignoring Dany's character in order for her to hook up with her nephew, Jon Snow. And I don't agree with that. Now, I feel like this problem could be fixed if they changed a few things about this battle scene. One, they should have had Jon's direwolf ghost with them. Now, this serves a couple purposes. One, it could be the reason that Jon is fighting off these zombies. He's trying to get to his direwolf. He's trying to save his direwolf. And that could also be to Daenerys, oh, wow, he has a connection to his animal, too. It's like his child as well. And then that also could have been, Ghost saving him in the end instead of another Deus Ex Machina, Benjen Stark coming in and being like, hey, Jon, okay, I'll see you, buddy. It's good to save you. I'll be going. If Ghost was the one that saved him, it would have been a better connection. You could have gotten rid of Ghost since the show clearly doesn't either have the budget, as they say, or they don't want to show Ghost, even though they show the random cameo of Arya's direwolf, Nymeria, earlier in the... I don't know. It's confusing, their justification for this stuff, but the season kind of falters with that in that aspect, in that they have to put Jon Snow and Daenerys together. And yes, they are a beautiful couple, and I mean, it's incest, but it's Game of Thrones, so... But I'm not going to comment on that, but it could have been done a lot better. And another thing that could have been done a lot better was the storyline between Arya and Sansa this season. Basically, from the audience perspective, they're kind of at each other's throats and fighting with each other, and it's supposed to be Littlefinger's machinations, and then in the end of the season, it turns out that they weren't actually fighting, that they were, in fact, conspiring against Littlefinger, and they end up executing Littlefinger, finally. The guy finally gets his just rewards for basically kickstarting this entire series. But the way that they go about showing this conflict between Arya and Sansa, they don't give too much of a hint to the audience that they're actually, pretending to fight. Like, they're in these rooms where nobody else is, and they're having these, like, really weird arguments. Like, Arya comes off as a serial killer, and Sansa is completely in the right for most of it. And it was very frustrating to me as a fan to see them come in and be like, oh, we're going to hate each other now, even though we haven't seen each other in a while. I just feel like there wasn't enough of a build-up to it, and then all of a sudden, oh, we were just pretending. And there was no indication, really. There was, like, maybe just, like, a minor, tiny, tiny hint of an indication to the audience that, okay, maybe they are pretending. But, again, like, it feels like that the show's kind of cheating in showing its audience something that they shouldn't be acting like they are in a private setting and where it's just the two of them. It's like they're putting on a play for the audience who doesn't in the show exist. So I don't understand why that was the case. It was another fault of the show. And also, while we're on the Stark children, I don't know what is Bran's deal this season. He's supposedly this three-eyed raven, and apparently he's above all social cues because he acts like a complete jerk to everybody. Like Mira, who has dragged his butt all around Westeros. He's like, oh yeah, thanks, I'll see ya. Bye. I know your brother got killed, but whatever. I don't need you anymore. I have a wheelchair. And, like, he just, like, sends her on her merry way. And she literally almost died for him. And also, he basically tells Sansa, oh, hey, it's good to see you. I saw you get raped. You look beautiful. Like, who says that to somebody? That's a horrible thing to say. Like, why would you do that? What? Why? That's a terrible, terrible thing. Like, I don't know. I mean, this season did do some things right. I mean, I'm glad my boy Davos got a lot more screen time because he is like everybody's grandpa, and he's just amazing. Davos, I love you, buddy. And also, a lot of Dany's stuff was pretty awesome. Like when the dragon came in to, like the dragon and the armies came in to wipe out the caravan that Jaime was in, and oh, that was a really cool scene. And when the dragon flapped its wings after it burned all the soldiers, and the ash of the soldiers just scattered. Oh, it was beautifully done, beautifully done. And of course, Missandei and Grey Worm, that's where it's at. That I'm so glad that they finally were able to show each other their feelings, and oh, that's just a beautiful couple, isn't it? But Game of Thrones, it was a good season. I think it was a better pace than season 6 because they were like, oh, we really need to hurry now because we only have a season left, and less than a season actually because only 6 episodes. And where like journeys took, days and episodes. It was like, okay, we're here and now we're here, like within the next scene. So they're really kind of rushing the pace up. I don't think anything kind of matched the power of some of the bigger action scenes in the last season, but it was a decent season. And I think probably my biggest problem with the season is it didn't kill off enough main characters. Like, we're going into Endgame here. Last season, we need to start killing off people because there's no way that 6 episodes can sustain this large of a cast without somebody falling through the cracks. It's impossible. I don't know how they're going to be able to do that. I mean, only time will tell, I guess. We're going to have to wait a year, maybe more, for the new season, but I don't know how they're going to do it with all this giant cast. I mean, it's an expensive show to produce, and you could save a lot of money by killing off some of the main characters, but I don't know. I guess they have a plan in store. But let's hope that the writing gives the audience more credit than it did this season, because it kind of treated the audience unfairly, I think. That's just my opinion. What did you think of Season 7 of Game of Thrones? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Is it your favorite? Is it not your favorite? Was there any character that you wish died in that season? Let me know. Comment on the video, and I would love to talk to you about it. And if you have any future suggestions for any upcoming episodes, just type that on away as well. I would love to cover anything that you'd like me to cover. And as always, until next time, take care.
I'm done. Goodbye.